be mine. We'll be divine. My paws were made for you. My claws will see what they can do. This kitty wants a cream. This pussy, oh, she has a little dream. Come, let me play. Don't run away. I'll have my way with you, and when I'm done, you'll say I slay. I'm coming for you tonight. I'm ready. Shut the door, turn out the light. Stop running for a minute. We can finally find infinity. Together we can win it all. This whole affair. So come on, turn around. Oh, you're so lost, but you confound me with your endless runaround. It's more than I can bear. You run, but in the end, I think you like this little game of hide and seek. But when I find you, you won't even know your name. You run, but you don't mean it. You're afraid I'll be too good. In all the love you've had, you've never had it like you should. Say you'll be mine. We'll be divine. My paws were made for you. My claws will see what they can.
Hello. Oh my fucking god, how is the Minecraft kid still not banned? Who's the Minecraft kid? Socrates. I didn't even know Socrates had Minecraft. Random name, thank you.
105 months of waiting for you to finish Yick.
I've beaten Yick once. I'm not fucking doing it again. I see, my bad. Kenny Shat, not Kenny's hat. My bad. My bad. Or is it Kennis? Yeah, I played another run of Eugenics. I did the Boneyard. I saw people saying like Dybbuk is a fucking nightmare. No, he's not. Granted, I kind of got lucky because I didn't know what Dybbuk did before I got to him. And I had a minion build, so I just kind of raped him to death instantly. I just gibbed him. Like, I didn't have to do anything. He just hard countered him. Easiest fight in the game. And then Guillotina showed up, and she was really, really easy to beat as well. Extremely weak. I don't know. So I reached Act 2. I think I've done like 6 runs or something. 5 or 6. Something like that. Right. We have some random bits and pieces people recommended. Why did I get Tina before Act 2? I got Tina as soon as I like unlocked Act 2. After I beat the Boneyard, which unlocked Act 2 for me. She came on her way. She got on her way, and I didn't do an Act 2 run. I could have done an Act 2 run before she showed up, but I didn't. I just bred some dudes. Yeah. Alright. We have a bunch of random bits and pieces people thought I'd have some kind of interest in. I've got like a pre-pimple on my lip. That's so annoying, man. That's so annoying. My hands are better today. I have I've got a permanent indent now. This hand's much better. But this one, ouchie. Fuck scooters, man. And you know the really sick part? The really sick part, it's got a new wheel on, and now the battery's dying. The battery is not holding fucking charge. Nice! So good. Love it. Anyway, you guys thought I'd be interested in radical unschooling and the dire consequences of illiteracy. A video that's going to try to convince us that not being able to read and write is bad. It's a difficult task, okay? A counterpoint to this. I've been watching the Vikings series. Those guys are doing alright not reading and writing. You seen all the gold they were getting? How much gold have you guys can all read and write. How much fucking gold have you plundered in your life? What has reading and writing fucking gotten you? Nothing. Nothing. Means you can... How many times have you regretted reading something? How many times have you been really glad to have read something, and how many times have you really regretted it? For me, the regret massively outweighs things that have been of value to me. Like, by a lot. So, she's going to have to do some serious work. Can you unschool correctly? I'm not really... I know a little bit about unschooling. It's like a variant and offshoot of homeschooling, isn't it? Except the idea is like to not have any of the structure of school and not reinforce, I don't know what, not allow your kid to be a reproduction of the system, whatever. I don't know, man. Let's learn some more about it. I think I probably knew more about it in the past, so I might remember stuff. But I used to teach. That's literally just homeschooling? No, because in homeschooling you'll normally at least have lessons. Right? I think unschooling is like even the structure of there being you sit down and you teach your kid something is like rejected. Might be wrong though. I, for a while, taught Asian kids English and music over the internet. I've told you about this, haven't I? Had a bunch of Malaysian students I would teach English to.
So we don't teach our children anything.
Thought Couture. This video is a 10 out of 10 just for showing me this at the start. At least it doesn't say damaged on her forehead. So here's the thing. That sounds bad. But then look at her and consider the alternative. Consider the alternative that she would... her teaching her kids stuff. Isn't it better that she not? Like, probably better for her kids to be going to school. But if it's the choice between her teaching her kids stuff or her teaching her kids nothing, probably don't teach them anything, lady. Okay?
So we don't teach our children anything.
Hands-on stuff to teach him these things, not just reading out of a book, which is what's wrong with public school.
So it's true.
If you're actually giving your kids a lot of hands-on stuff, like imagine like a little mini experiment and practical-based science education, where they're quite limited on how much you do that in public school. You could do some sick stuff that's like an improvement over it. I have a feeling we're about to see that that's not what's happening.
My son cannot read. It will come at the right
Oh,
time.
man. Just like, look, man, reading is just walking. You just sort of leave your kid and eventually it happens. I'm just waiting for... Look, my English speaking ability woke up inside of me. I'm just waiting for, one of these days I'm suddenly going to be able to speak Chinese. You don't need study. It's just going to happen, right?
Supposed to know this shit already.
Did you know
That looks like acting. I was warned about the audio quality, and it's already hitting.
that 54% of American adults can only read at or below a 6th grade level? 54% of American adults can only read at or below a 6th grade level. For reference,
I need that
some
reference.
6th grade books are Holes, A Wrinkle in Time, and the Percy Jackson series. And those are all great children's books,
Okay.
but imagine not being able to read anything beyond them. Worse, imagine
Gonna be real, most people probably don't need to. Yeah, let's get a lav mic and then fucking hold it. That's insane.
being an adult who struggles
That does seem like a very high percentage, though. Does she source that? Like, I don't care that much. She sources things. Do I care enough to look? Not really.
to understand written words at all who was functionally illiterate. You wouldn't be able to fill out a job application, follow a recipe. You might not even be able to sign your own name. Wouldn't you do everything in your power to prevent this from happening to your...
I don't need any of that shit. I cook from the soul, okay? I will never work a job. I'm a self-employed Chad. Sign my name? Bro, just put some ink on my hand. Bam! Unique fingerprint. You can't forge my fingerprint. I have the advantage.
Your child? Well, not these parents. Recently, my YouTube homepage has been filled with reactions to parents who unschool their kids on TikTok. And this means that they pull their children out of...
So this is like a trendy thing to look at. All right.
Public school, but instead of setting up a homeschooling curriculum, they let
I'm
the
gonna
child
close some
decide
tabs.
what they're going to learn and when. Doesn't matter what it is. If the child doesn't want to learn it, they don't.
122. Give me 1 second. I'm going to reopen Firefox. I'm going to save the links I prepared. And I'm going to close and reopen Firefox because it's like lagging out when I try and pause and start. Okay. Hold up. Hold. We're at 1 minute 22. Just closing it. Reopening it. This might be why so many streamers get caught up in not paying taxes. I can tell you exactly why. I can tell you the truth. A lot of streamers...
So we don't teach our children... And
while not illiterate, are extremely fucking stupid. When I went to Twitch Tour 2018, which is where I got this cup from, they think it's tips, not income, essentially. But it's worse. So people call the money they're given, right, donations or donos. And I talked it to some other Twitch streamers. And at Twitch Tour 2018, they'd gotten some accountants in. There was like a table with accountants there, and you could talk to them about taxes, like as a favor to streamers to help them. They thought, because the money they get given is called a donation or donos, that it's like the same as a charitable donation. They didn't have to pay tax on it, as if they were a non-profit. They actually believed, because the tips are colloquially called donations, they thought they didn't have to pay tax, and they were knowingly not including it, thinking they didn't have to in their income. Insane. I am still waiting for like a nuclear bomb to go off on streamer taxes, because I have to imagine that hasn't stopped happening.
Doesn't want to learn it, they don't. I had heard the term unschooling before, but I've never seen it in action. And once the initial shock of these videos wore off, I became horrified, thinking what future awaits these children if they never learn how to read. So today I want to
They could become gamers.
talk about unschooling, literacy, and the effects of illiteracy on a person's life. And I'm focusing on literacy not only because this is a books and reading channel.
Here's an idea for a story. It's the future. We've got our new AI overlords, and they mind control you. But the illiterate are immune to it, because it does it through text and visuals that the people are just not able to engage with if they're illiterate, and that's how they stay protected.
But because these parents, by and large, don't seem to have any training in education or in child development, and therefore don't seem to understand just how critical it is for a child to learn to read. Because it is relevant, quick background on me. Though I'm not an educator now, I did study education alongside literature at the undergrad and graduate levels.
Nice.
And I used to work as an assistant in a remedial reading classroom in an elementary.
Here are my Here are my certifications. Here are my qualifications. Here are my credentials. Trust me, reading is good.
School, so
You don't need to. It's fine.
do have a pretty solid understanding of this topic. In order to better understand this situation, we need to define a few terms: unschooling and literacy. Let's start with unschooling.
But they can still see and hear things. Yeah, but the idea is they don't have the they haven't engaged with what the AI needs them to engage with to be able to tailor it to them, right? That's how I'd have it go in my story.
Unschooling is a form of homeschooling popularized by the education critic John Holt in the 1970s.
Education critic. So I presume a critic of forms of education and not just like don't fucking teach people things. It's a mistake.
He began his career as an elementary school teacher, but when he noticed that the school system focused on repetition and memorization over critical thinking and true understanding, he became disillusioned with formal education and began advocating for homeschooling. Holt initially believed he could help reform the school system.
That's like the broke rote memorization is like a plague on the school system. You don't end up with kids who understand things. You end up with kids who are able to just regurgitate stuff. Woke is realizing a lot of kids are only ever going to be capable of that.
But the less progress he saw, the more radical his views became.
Gloopster999 says, I'm taking an anti-learning stance.
So he came to advocate not only for homeschooling, but a hands-off, child-led approach to homeschooling. He believed, quote, children who were provided with a rich and stimulating learning environment would learn what they are ready to learn when they are ready to learn it. This approach would come to be called unschooling when Holt's newsletter, Grow Without Schooling.
I feel like the largest immediate barrier and problem with that I can think of is a lot of education involves like fast tracking you through everything that has already been figured out by other people. And you can figure out stuff yourself, of course, and ideally you'll be nudged towards it, but kids don't know what they don't know. Your kid's not going to be like, I want to learn calculus now. They might not even have the thought that that's a thing they could pursue. You got to show it to them. I mean, you can go down that path, but if you just give it to them, they're there already. Boom, 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 boom. Catch them up, catch them up. I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb and wrong, but I view basic education as like quickly catching people up as fast as you can. Trying to get people close to like what's current. And then when they specialize and go into further education, they approach the cutting edge in a specialized topic.
Launched in 1977. It's worth noting that Holt did not have a degree in education or psychology, but rather studied industrial engineering at Yale. From what I can tell, his views about how children learn don't seem to be based in anything other than his own belief system and some observations from his time as a teacher. So you might be wondering, like I was, how a curriculum-free education is even legal? Well, in the US, homeschooling is perfectly...
There's an issue with the audio where I'm not sure what's happening. It sounds almost like her voice is being picked up by the table and it's being fed up through her arm into the mic, maybe. And she's got like this demonic bit of reverb. Do you hear it? It comes out sometimes at the end of words.
Legal in all 50 states, and because unschooling is technically a form of homeschooling, there are no laws against it. However, each state differs in how much proof of teaching hours and progress they require. New York, for example, is on the stricter end. The state requires an individualized home instruction plan prior to every school year.
She needs a pop filter for that mic? I don't think so. It's small. It's got foam around it. I'm not hearing a problem with plosives, personally.
And then quarterly and annual reports on the actual progress that was made. Idaho, on the other hand, does not regulate or monitor homeschool education.
Yeah, because, you know about Idaho. They're known for producing potatoes.
Idaho. A neglectful parent's paradise.
What's the joke there? You had the thought for the potato joke. You just were scared to go for it. You were scared to grasp it.
And now that we have a background on unschooling, what do we mean by illiteracy? I brought up the 54% statistic a minute ago, but who are the people who fall into this 54%, and what do their reading skills actually look like? The statistic comes from a recent study from the U.S. Department of Education, who found that 54% of U.S. adults aged 16 to 74, or approximately 130 million people, lack literacy
proficiency. At or below 6th grade
that
level,
raises the question of what is literacy proficiency. Literacy is broadly defined as the ability to read and write, but it more accurately encompasses the comprehension, evaluation, and utilization of information.
Reasonable.
In other words, illiteracy is not only a total lack of reading and writing ability, but also a decreased ability to understand and use information. In fact, the Program for International...
She could have just pulled up any YouTube comment section and been like, here are like 1,000 case studies. Here you go.
Assessment of Adult Competencies, say that 5 times fast, identifies 5 levels of literacy, with 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest. They found that 1 in 5 U.S. adults fall into level 1, meaning they struggle to read and understand print materials, though some...
Most of the tasks at this level require the respondent to read relatively short, continuous, non-continuous, or mixed texts in digital or print format to locate a single piece of information that is identical to or synonymous with the information given in the question or directive. Some tasks, such as those involving non-continuous texts, may require the respondent to enter personal information into a document. Little, if any, competing information is present. Some tasks may require simply cycling through more than one piece of information. The respondent is expected to have knowledge and skill in recognizing basic vocab. Okay, blah, 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 blah.
Some on the higher end could be able to perform simple tasks based on the info presented to them. Those at level 2 can perform slightly more advanced tasks, like paraphrasing and comparing and contrasting, but aren't able to do so with longer...
No, Zara, but like, when you have more than 5 people look at you, someone's gonna... As soon as you have 5 people, you're gonna have one of these level 1ers watching. And you start to like... I don't know that I've done it so much recently. I used to have a lot of fun deliberately phrasing things in a way that sort of like, you know how The Simpsons will have jokes that are designed to go over kids' heads, but the kid will still think is funny for a different reason? I used to deliberately phrase stuff so that people who understood what I was saying would get it. Like, most people would get it, but the people who didn't understand it, I'd try and like target them for a specific misunderstanding with my phrasing. I don't really do that so much anymore, but that was fun.
Or denser texts. We'll come back to these categories and definitions in a few minutes during the reaction portion of the video, but I want to highlight a...
And then there's the best video I ever made, the H3 versus Leafy one, where I managed to get... That video got close to, or maybe it hit 1 million views. And while it was still up, it had a 50-50 like-dislike ratio. Perfectly down the middle. That shit was like... I'll never match it. I will never, ever, ever match that.
Quote from Dr.
And the video itself was split half and half. Half the video, I attacked Ethan while parodying Leafy, and the other half, if I remember correctly, I attacked Leafy while parodying Ethan.
Iris Feinberg, who's the director of the Adult Literacy Research Center at Georgia State University. It's not just people who are poor. It's not just people...
And basically no one got it, even though the first half of the video had me like surfing badly in Counter-Strike.
People who are racial minorities. It's not just people who speak funny because they're from the South. It literally can be anybody. So I'm...
Is there a but? Miss Feinberg. That sounds like that's...
Not someone to throw around the word privilege because it's kind of become devoid of meaning these days. But in this case, it does take a certain amount of privilege and financial stability.
The best video I've ever done is Autism Apocalypse. That's fair. But that's a stream highlight. That's different. That's different. The best thing I've ever come across in a stream is catalogued in Autism Apocalypse.
responsibility in order for one or both parents to stay home and homeschool or unschool a child rather than work outside the home. As we'll see, there seems to be this unspoken belief among unschooling parents that illiteracy can't possibly happen to their child, and that couldn't be further from the truth.
Illiteracy, it could
Reading and
happen to
writing
you.
are not natural, inherent human skills.
True, they're works of the devil. Protect your kids from the AI today.
They need to be taught. And if a child is not taught to read, they will be illiterate no matter their race or their class. Okay, you waited long enough before the reaction
What if they're taught to read and they suck though? Okay,
portion
just
of
saying.
this video. Let's start with
Hang on. Yeah, what she said does carry overtones. I'm just saying.
the unschooling TikTok that set the internet aflame by a creator called Mami Onami.
Like,
There's
even if you're white, if you're not taught, you won't learn it.
a lot going on in this video that I want to address. So we're
Have I already convinced myself that my fictional scenario is going to become reality? No, I haven't convinced myself it is, but I've begun to work towards it. I'm gonna pay for a maximum level subscription to one of these fucking AI things and start building the basilisk.
gonna break it down in sections.
So we don't teach our children anything. Everything that they learn is in response to either their interests or their questions. We have no curriculum, we have no school hours. We really just respond whenever they want to know something and do our best to make sure they really get it.
So, I put my toddler in a concrete room. They're allowed out. They're allowed to leave, but they have to first conceptualize an outside. I only give them that which they request. But for some reason, having only seen 4 concrete walls, they're not requesting anything. It's strange.
And my big fear about free schooling was that if my kids only went towards what they were interested in, saving all of their real estate only for things they're interested in, not cramming it with anything necessary, I was concerned that they would never be interested in things like reading and writing and math.
So I'm immediately noticing some contradictions that I doubt this mother is aware of herself. She says she
Excuse me?
wants to save all of her son's brain space for the things that he's interested in. None of that necessary stuff. Which, like, how do you put scare quotes around necessary?
The implication is what the school system deems to be necessary isn't actually necessary. It's pretty easy to understand.
But
Are you at level 1?
then expresses fear that he won't be interested in reading, writing, and math. So she must understand
Yeah.
then that reading, writing, and math are necessary skills,
That's fair. You got
but
her.
is also admitting that if her son does not express interest in them, she will not teach them. Like, I just can't imagine being a parent and
However, just because she aligns on some of the things that are necessary doesn't mean her category necessary includes everything beyond reading and writing, right? That's not necessarily a contradiction. You've half got her.
having this kind of cognitive dissonance, like knowing your son needs to learn these essential skills.
Like you've shown that the circle necessary overlaps with her circle necessary. Not
and
that they're
yet
the same.
refusing to teach them if he doesn't express this like outright enthusiasm. It just
That is
how-
nutty. Yeah, that is nutty. You gotta put... Kids are fucking kids. Correct. You're correct. You gotta give them the good stuff.
How do you really believe that that is the best thing for your child?
Yeah.
Not to mention, often as adults, we have to do things we are not interested in and don't want to do. I, for one, am not interested in math or finances, but I'm certainly glad I was taught enough of both of those things to, have a budget and do my taxes, or else I would
Yeah.
be in some deep trouble.
Correct.
Now let's talk about that writing.
My son's 6, and it took some patience and not comparing myself to other moms, but this is his book. Look at this. Lamp. Egg.
Uh,
His book. Look at this. Lamp. Egg.
You're kind of reading tea leaves here, lady. You're kind of reading tea leaves.
Jar.
That kid's fucked.
Lion. This is him doing this by himself.
Yeah, we can tell.
Copying down words from other places, asking us more. Same with addition. Mom, what's 7 plus 5?
This lady.
Like, if you leave the kid alone to do this, they can possibly get there eventually, right? Sure, they can get there eventually. It's going to take a lot longer, and your like, my understanding is your optimal language acquisition years are fucking young, and the longer it takes, the more fucked you are. It's not just that it takes longer, it's also not going to be as strong a grasp. Maybe like some fucking prodigy you could leave to pick it up on their own like that, and they're super fast. But you gotta make sure your kid gets that shit when they're proper sponge pilled.
Lady seems very impressed that her son wrote egg and lamp on his own.
That is your kid calling for guidance on things it sees other people do? Yeah, Mark. Yes.
But at 6 years old, that's not impressive.
Fuck that kid. That's not impressive. Come on, that's mean. Make it about the mom. That's scary. That's concerning. Sorry, lady, your 6-year-old fucking sucks.
Of the children I worked with when I was a
Come on.
remedial reading assistant. The handwriting looks very similar in that it's nearly illegible and it's not,
Is the twist gonna be that her kids are flid? What if the twist is her kid hasn't been screwed over, and it shows the kid and it's just got a couple flippers, and that's how he's writing with like his little thalidomide flipper? Then it's impressive, right? I don't know.
on a straight line. In fact, in the classroom I was in,
The twist is he was doing that with his mouth.
some students would come in every day, others would come in 2 or 3 times a week, depending on their needs, and this strikes me as an everyday student. And notice how she says he's copying down words. Copying is not writing. And of course, copying down letters is part of how you learn to write, but just because he can draw the letters that make up a word doesn't necessarily mean he understands how the language is working, and that...
This is how I feel like listening to people speak on the bus. This concept I extend to a lot of things, and she's correct.
He'd be able to identify these words on his own.
He's like drawing a picture of the word he sees. Yeah.
Like I could copy down words in Russian, does not mean I understand Russian. And the same thing goes for the addition she mentioned. Telling your kid that 7 plus 5 equals 12 is not the same thing as teaching him how addition works so that he could get to that answer himself. Finally, let's look at her closing statement.
It will come at the right time. But if you do not like this idea of sending your kids away for 40 hours a week and then wondering why they have no energy to do anything else, if you are not into your kids conforming, trust that you can follow their interests and they will learn everything they need to learn.
Except writing and reading.
Not what other people need them to learn.
Her small amount of anecdotal evidence that it will come at the right time is not nearly...
Additionally, most parents aren't equipped to enable their child to follow their interests, right? Especially when they're not a little kid anymore. Like, you might be able to homeschool your kid in terms of basic reading and writing, and something you're educated in yourself. What if you're someone who's, like, great with language, great with literature, your kid is not fucking interested, they like physics, they're capped on like how far they can go with your help.
strong enough. To assert
If you're fucking rich, maybe you can do that and like hire tutors, but another problem I can see where even if this conceptually worked, your own limitations are going to be directing your child. There are barriers there, and the barriers are whatever limits you have.
that if you pull your
Just don't let them know that physics exists. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The things they even know they could pursue are going to be limited by you. They're not really free, even if you leave them be. They're in your domicile, and they're going to be exposed to certain things and not others.
kids out of school, they will learn everything they need to know. And what I'd really love to know is what exactly does she mean by not into your kids conforming, and what other people need them to learn?
Really, if you think about it, all they need to know is how to kill and how to dress an animal.
She's already admitted that reading, writing, and math are necessary skills.
Imagine the physics-built 5-year-old dropping vases and shit from the countertop. Throw good, read bad.
So, like, what does she think is taught in public schools? That is so horrible. She already listed all the important things, the main things, other than history. Maybe that's the horrible thing. I truly don't have an answer. And as we'll see with the rest of these videos, it seems like the very idea...
You know what I want to see? I want to see that mother's writing. Not necessarily with a pen. I'm fucking useless with a pen. This is going to shock those of you who don't know. I am a genuine autist, diagnosed. And I have a lot of the classic autism things. Like my handwriting is fucked up. Real fucked up. But I type pretty fast. So I want to see the mother's writing, whether that's with a pen or with a keyboard. Let's see what she can do. Maybe the child's already surpassed her.
Their child might ever encounter a rule or ever be anything less than entertained is what's so offensive. But real quick, if you found this video interesting so far, albeit infuriating, do consider hitting that subscribe button.
Sure.
I'm Kelsey Joe. This is Thought Couture, where the life of the mind...
Maybe I will. What else do you do, lady? 120 words per minute? No, I'm not that fast. I'm just okay. It's like 90 and like burst 100. Not very fast. But, you know, a decent percentile, I think. I think that's a decent, like, in terms of how fast everyone types. I think that's... As with a lot of things, getting into like the top 25% doesn't take that much. I'd do anything to become a writer except write. She's being unschooled. They're unschooling her. Watch out. They got her.
Is down to earth, and I publish videos almost every week on book recommendations.
I downloaded a... It might be lower because I haven't been doing that much typing. I did like monkey type or whatever it's called for a long time. I recently got like a typing roguelite, and that's good for typing fast, but the problem with a lot of these is they don't include punctuation. So when I do things like that for a while, I notice like I get like these speed spikes, but then when I'm actually writing something, I like having to put in an exclamation mark is like a speed bump. Quotation marks are like speed bumps once I've not done them for a while. I used to have the home row mod. I used to use the home row mod for all the stuff, but I've lost that muscle memory. That makes you a lot faster. But yeah.
Creative writing advice and literary commentary like this. Okay, now let's meet our next TikTok famous unschooling mom, Kelsey Ray. I have quite a bit to say about her.
I bet if I did a type test right now, I'd get like 60 words per minute or something. Something abysmal.
First of all, as a Kelsey, on behalf of all the other Kelseys of the world, we do not claim her.
We have 52 days until I pull my child out of public.
How many slurs can you type a minute? That's not going to be very high because double tapping keys slows me down a lot. I get slowed down a lot by like double taps. I mean, I always like Z, X, and C slow me down. Q slows me down. I feel like P slows me down a lot.
School and start unschooling him. He will be in 2nd grade. But I want to share some things with you guys that I'm going to be doing to make sure that I don't fuck up his education or fuck up his future. Some of you guys in my comments...
Not to make fun of you, but yeah, you have super clumsy fingers. Yeah, I walk into stuff. I smash things into other things. Sometimes I punch lights, swinging my arms around. Just to say.
Of you, most people in my comments actually are homeschooling or unschooling, and I love that. We built this community of people, this community of like women that really just think the same, and I fucking love that. Like, that's been my goal this entire time with this platform, is can we create a community of people that all...
She's creating the hoe mind.
Think the same, and we've done that. So tell me in the comments if you homeschool or unschool, what are your best practices, your best tips?
So
Yo, do you want to see something fucking sick? You can get away with this, right? I'm not going to get in trouble for this. Slur typing hacks? That's still really slow. And I fuck it up trying to like do like a 3-finger, trying to do like a 3-finger speed slur. What's the optimal slur for mass typing? Don't type it in chat, I'll get in trouble. But...
She says, make sure I don't fuck up his education or his future. Failed. You failed at that. I'm also immediately concerned with the language she's using to describe her community. People, women who all think the same, that's been my goal. Cult. You just described a cult, my friend. First off,
no, you didn't. No, there's more to a cult than that.
She specifies women. That strikes me as a subtle...
If everyone in this comment section agrees with you that reading, it's good for your kids to be taught to fucking read and write. If you get everyone together and agree, teaching your kids to read and write, it's good. Or have them taught by someone better equipped to teach them. They think that's good, they all agree. It's not a cult. There's more to a cult than just a bunch of people who all agree, okay?
Way of striking down any potential opposition by appealing to the women supporting women idea. I'm willing to bet that if any of her followers or community members dared call her out, she'd respond with, oh, you're mom shaming. You're not a girl's girl. Blah, blah, blah.
I don't know about mom shaming, but she would undoubtedly try and leverage some social rule or something. Yeah, sure.
More importantly, I have no doubt that this mindset extends to her children. She wants to surround herself with people who all think the same. Well, what place makes it very easy to...
A slur for Southeast Asians? There's K and I in a row, and I type those both with my middle finger, so that would slow me down. That's not the optimal slur.
Meet people who don't think like you.
Unless you mean a different word.
It's pretty clear, I think, that this desire for conformity and pulling her son out of a place of diversity are related. Although this
Excuse me?
It's pretty clear, I think, that this desire for conformity and pulling her son out of a place of diversity are related. Although
you're making it sound like a really good idea.
Pro-conformity attitude is an interesting point of departure from the previous video. So what are Kelsey's big plans for unschooling?
Schools, a place of diversity.
Let's listen.
So a couple of things that I'm going to be doing are prioritizing to make sure that I don't fuck up his education and he learns the skills he needs to be a successful adult is lots of time outside. This is going to allow his creativity to flow. Letting children be children and not setting them in front of a fucking desk or a piece of paper or a book for 8 hours a day is the best way to get their creativity flowing, and that matters in life.
That's really not what school was like to me. Like, I think back to school, and it was, maybe I just went to good fucking schools. Like, what I was doing was quite varied. Some lessons would be, you know, like sitting in front of a book, like English lesson. Science there was always an attempt at practical stuff, especially in elementary school or primary school over here. They'd always have you doing active stuff. They tried to have art be interesting. They'd have different, you wouldn't just be in the same classroom. there would be like specific classrooms for art and specific classrooms for music and so on and so forth. Yeah. Worksheets, computer labs with games. Yeah, the computer room was a big deal. Trying to make that fun for us. Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to do something that you love. I'm going to take him grocery shopping.
You had individual learning, you had group learning, small group, like maybe the US education system really sucks, but here in the UK they do, at least where there's funding and better schools, I guess. I'm a bit of a, some of you may consider me a posh cunt because I'm from the South. Not from the South, I grew up in the South. But yeah, our school was pretty good. Yeah, multiple recesses. I think, isn't it like a recess in the morning, recess in the afternoon, and between them there's lunch? On the 3 breaks?
We're going to start a garden, doing lots of gardening, lots of hands-on stuff to teach him.
We did gardening at my primary school, and there was a nature area you'd go out to every week or two and like see the stuff, check out the bugs, all sorts of stuff.
These things, not just reading out of a fucking...
I'm not posh, but compared to someone like Hexathian, anyone who grew up in Oxfordshire is a posh cunt. Compared to Mr. Rotherham, living in a market town qualifies you as posh to such individuals.
Which is what's wrong with public school. So I'm going to also teach him about money. That goes into grocery
That I say sheer instead of sure is another sign, just saying.
shopping, okay? I'm going to teach him how to be frugal. Teach him how to shop for the things that he needs.
God, the cunt part. I am a seppo cunt.
Not always what he wants. I'm going to teach him how to set boundaries with people. I'm going to teach him how to create friendships and connections with people.
Oh, God.
I'm going to teach him how to
I'm going to train my child in BPD.
bake and cook.
That's good. However, we had, I don't remember what the class was called. They didn't call it home economics. And it wasn't called cooking. Food technology. We had food technology lessons. Like at my schools, the schools I went to, they teach you how to cook. They teach you how to sew. They teach you all sorts of stuff. Like, a lot of the times homeschoolers would be like, we're going to give people this. We're going to teach our kids that. And I'm just like, yeah, I was taught that at school. So, like...
Do you know how many adults there are right now that 30, 40 years old?
And then there was room for you to pursue things you were particularly interested in the form of clubs that would like, you'd have like a shortened time to eat lunch and then you could go to a club for the rest of the lunch break or sometimes after school.
Don't know how to fucking cook, which is crazy to me, okay? After a certain point, you can't blame your parents for that shit no more. You can learn, all right? We're also going to be doing lots of sports. So he'll be in any sport, every sport that we can possibly think of.
Not that I can remember how to sew, but I was taught. By hand and with a machine.
Because we will now have time to do so. I'll be taking...
Clubs are ass. In secondary school, I signed up to replace 2 of my lunchtimes a week with extra lessons. I had an extra IT lesson, and I would have lost 3 lunches a week, I think. I took an additional language class. So at my school, everyone was either randomly sorted into learning German or French, and I got German, but then I was allowed to also take French. And I got extra IT lessons.
Them to the aquarium and zoos and learning through life experiences, and that is what unschooling is.
So we have time outside, creativity,
And what do you want with German? I mean, my town is the town I lived in is, I believe, twinned with the German village and the French village or something. I don't know, whatever. At Lord William's Lower School, there is a classroom block called the Goodall Wing or the Goodall Block, and every room is G and then a number. And my German class was in room G6, which means, of course, when it's time for German, it's time for gay sex.
grocery shop.
That was the joke. every time.
Gardening, cooking, money, sports, all things you can teach your kids outside of school and things you should do with your kids. Those are all great things. You know, I'm totally in support of hands-on experiential learning and fostering a child's creativity. There's no problem there with me, but schooling and creativity are not mutually exclusive. Nor is it true that kids in school sit at a desk for a full 8 hours a day.
Correct.
Recess exists, gym class, art class, music class, theater programs, field trips.
And for me, at least, maybe it's different over there. Even when you're behind the desk, a lot of the time it will be like in a group. So it won't be like, I'm sitting down and I'm looking down. Yo, you went to Lord Bill's? You're from Tame?
Clubs, sports teams, all sorts of special programs. Like, they already exist in school. Now, it takes a lot for me to feel...
So you know I'm not lying. Language classes in lower school are in the good old wing or good old block. All the G rooms. Gay sex.
Offended, but I'm starting to feel a little offended by the fact that she's offended by the very concept of a book. We're not just going to sit in front of a fucking book. Again, like, I agree that not every student learns best by reading and that book learning is only one way to learn, but at this age, kids absolutely need to be...
Yo, you know it was sick? You know how, like, at the end of the good old wing or whatever, there's the library, which is sort of... It's not a hexagon, but it's some sort of, like, polygon shape. It's, like, round, almost. And in there, when you went, did they have all the black library books? Like the Warhammer books? When I fucking went, there was a Space Marine. A cardboard Space Marine in the library. Did you have that shit?
Exposed to books and reading. Remember those literacy levels I mentioned a little bit ago? Well, because her son did attend kindergarten and first grade, maybe he's on track with reading for his age. I don't really know. It doesn't say.
They did have Simpsons comics. Okay. And I'm trying to visualize in my head. Touching the library is like a fence, yeah, that connects to another block, another classroom block, and that's where all the maths lessons are. Do they still have the chess club there? Or did they have the chess club there when you went there? Maybe we went at the same time. I don't know how old you are.
But he still
I never went to the chess club.
needs to work on skills like comprehension, grammar and vocab, paraphrasing, context clues, synthesizing ideas, and not to mention also learning to express his own thoughts and ideas in writing. And he just can't learn that while at the grocery store, or gardening, or playing baseball. I also can't
Seamus Heaney might disagree.
help but think and suspect that this aversion to reading is related to the previous point of conformity of thought. Aside from school, where else can you access ideas that differ from those of the people around you?
Chess club? Tim went to Mensa school or something? No, I believe the chess club started while I was there. Or at least maybe there have been multiple chess clubs, I don't know. I think a couple guys I knew called Alex and Nick, along with a math teacher, organized the chess club. Every school has a chess club. I don't think mine did until it was started by people in my year.
Books.
I think
just so
I might be remembering wrong because I didn't go to it.
Sad and alarming to see just how much this mother is isolating her child. And, you know, she says she wants to foster creativity and freedom, but is also stifling her child's ability to express himself and use his imagination through language. This next thought is not like...
Sorry, I'm going to jump back in the video a bit. You know, we've seen you play chess. I still don't know the rules of chess. But someone who did know the rules of chess couldn't beat me, so hell yeah. Hell yeah. Ooh. I have to assume, person in chat who went to Lord Bill's, I have to assume you're not the same age as me. So it's not worth asking, like, did you know Big Jamie? That's not worth asking.
But is also stifling her child's ability to express himself and use his imagination through language. This next thought is not like fully formed, but I do think there's this overarching anti-intellectualism among these TikTok unschooling moms that I don't quite understand. And like anti-intellectualism in our current society is like a big topic I'm thinking about a lot. And like
always has been. Do they still do? I'm gonna stop asking about it a little bit. Do they still do like fireworks? Bonfire night fireworks? You weren't even there when the drama Holy fuck! I remember now! So you also know about the retard cage. And I presume they still have the retard cages. They're like semi-portable, like temporary classrooms with like a fence in front of them. Near one of the entrances. Near the right near the drama studio. Anyway, whatever, it's fine.
Really trying to get to the root of, but I do know that it is not benefiting these children at all. We have about another minute of Kelsey Ray, and her closing thoughts are something.
Now, a lot of people think that unschooling, and people will say, unschooling is giving your child autonomy over what they want to learn. And yes, that is true. But if you sit there and say, what do you want to learn today? And your kid goes, I don't really want to learn today. It's not your job to say, okay, that's fine. No, we're learning something today, but what do you want to learn first?
The kid doesn't know what they don't know. It's called an unknown unknown.
Okay, that's how
They don't even know that they don't know, bro.
I'm approaching it. I'm not going to give my child full autonomy over dictating his entire...
They're called mobile learning units. Yeah, and the kids are called differently abled. We all know what it really is.
...education or his entire, like, little baby life, because if he chose, he would choose to do nothing, okay? But
different how? Much less, perhaps?
I will have lots of stuff planned out for us to do, physically, hands-on.
Was Tim differently abled? I have a story. The, like, special needs classroom place or whatever, the, like, Sneeders got in contact with my parents, and they, like, sort of chewed them out, talking to them about, like, how I needed extra help, and they were surprised that they didn't know I needed extra help, and they were like, I need to go to the special help class or whatever. And I got talked to by my parents about, like, oh, we didn't realize, but you're struggling, blah, 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 right? You need to go to these special classes or whatever. And then, real quick, maybe even the same day or within a few days or something, I was, like, accepting it, and I was really confused. I was very confused, because I was like, what the fuck is happening? Yes, they did have the wrong person. And then they were, like, belligerent about it. They were like, why didn't you tell us? Like, he obviously doesn't need this. Because at that point, I was, like, way fucking insanely ahead in everything.
Like, little baby life, because if he chose, he would choose to do...
I had, like, a mini being gaslit into thinking I'm retarded arc.
Nothing, okay? But I will have lots of stuff planned out for us to do, physically, hands-on stuff, and I believe this is going to be the best thing I've probably ever done for my kids, and I'm really excited. I'm going to record everything, so if you're not following me, you definitely should be, because I am documenting the fuck out of this experience, because I have been feeling in my heart for a very long time.
Exploiting her children for content. That, based on what we're looking at, that's probably what's happening. That description isn't necessarily exploiting her kids for content. There are ways to do that that are legit and fine. If you're like, here's what I've been doing with my kid, here's what works, here's what didn't work, that's fine. I don't think that's exploitation.
And public school is just not, it's just not it. It's just not. And I think that a lot of you watching this, you probably feel the same way.
She do be clawing her tits.
So I'll take the lead. I'll do this. I will lead you on this. Even though I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, I know that I'm gonna figure it out, and I trust my instincts and what I...
Bit of a gamble with the foundation of your kid's life.
Feel is best for my child over anything else that the government or society has to say about it. So make sure you tap that follow button and follow me if you relate to this.
I guess I'm glad that she's not going to let her son learn nothing, which is the absolute bare minimum. But again, I'm seeing this cognitive dissonance and these contradictions. So you know your child would choose to learn nothing if given the option. So then you pull him out
Could, okay, look.
of an environment of structure and put him into a space, a movement that is focused on the child's desires. You admit you don't know what you're doing, but
Yeah.
also think you know better
That's like the biggest part.
than the government and every educator that has studied teaching and has been teaching for centuries. Now, remember when I said cult? You just described a cult. Well, I wasn't joking, because I went to Miss Kelsey Ray's
Why the different white balance?
page, noticed she has an alarming number of followers, got nosy, clicked her link, and she's in a pyramid scheme.
Yo, the classic. Does she also do Avon? That's a big one. I'll tell you, Avon bubble bath was the shit.
Are you shocked? Aren't you just so shocked?
No.
It's Prove It, specifically, which sells like ketones for weight loss or something. If you want to go down like the whole rabbit hole of MLMs and specifically Prove It, wild, unbelievable. I know I said,
But taking ketones in? Aren't the extreme weight loss things normally literally the opposite? You go into ketosis and you start whatever.
focusing on
I don't know.
literacy, but I think it would be irresponsible not to mention that I do believe Kelsey Ray is grooming her children into becoming her downline and is using unschooling like as a cover. I also want to note here that just because certain tenets of unschooling are fine, they're sound, you know, specifically
The bullying. Yeah, that's probably like the biggest issue. And if you're gonna homeschool, I don't think you can just wing it. I'm not anti-homeschool. I'm anti whatever the fuck this is. I'm anti like whatever. It'll all work out in the end. No, it won't.
focusing on like experiential learning and fostering creativity.
You're literally like thousands of years late for that to be an acceptable approach. And what could work?
Unschooling's lack of structure and the lack of regulation and monitoring on the government's part lets people like her get away with something like that. Finally, we're going to go back to Mami Onami for just a minute because she says something very interesting that I...
That's for like when the most anyone knew. That's for when the tech tree stopped at grinding wheat.
Need to address. Quick side note, there are other unschooling parents on TikTok, but these two are far and away the most prominent, and therefore I think the most dangerous, which is why I'm focusing on them. I'm going to play this one all the way through, and I want you to notice the language she's using and the dichotomy she's setting up.
So it's true. My son cannot read at age 6. There's never going to be a time in my life where I can say, yeah, my son started reading when he was 5 years old. He's on the Waldorf and Montessori schedule. It's different. But here's the thing about my kid.
Waldorf and Montessori. Waldorf schedules prioritize a predictable rhythm with alternating teacher-led artistic outdoor activities, whereas Montessori focuses on long, uninterrupted child-led work periods. Sounds like they're competing approaches. Sounds like they're competing, contrasting approaches, but maybe that's just from Googling.
He's free. He's always been free. And every single day of his life is a blank canvas that
As plain and empty as his damn mind.
he can make whatever art he wants with. Discovery, adventure, art, play, interest.
Is this an alternative opening to Final Fantasy XIV?
This is what his day is made up of. There's no conformity. There's no needing to pretend that you're sick in order to get a day off. There's no trends. There's no way to pretend that you're sick in order to get a day off.
What a weird perspective.
There's no trends. There's no ahead or behind. There's just being free, exactly the way that you are, free to learn at your own pace.
Yeah, but look, man. If you're not pushed, you don't really know how fast you can go or what you can do. I'm just saying.
And there are so many inmates.
Hang on. We're getting into the propaganda zone. Like, you know, in all sorts of endeavors, a lot of the time you get these, like, fucking massive bursts of progress in terms of what people are able to do. And you've probably experienced this in your own life, where once you have an idea of what's possible, it helps you really aim higher. Because it's not just, maybe I could do this, it's, no, I can definitely do this. Fucking go! Fucking floor it, bitch! That's way less likely to happen here.
Learn at your own pace. And there are so many
And when this is your mother, when this is your example of how fast and how hard and how far you can go, you're fucked. If this is your frame of reference, you're fucking done.
inmates that will know so much more than me. Inmates get law degrees, get all kinds of stuff. And there's so many inmates that will say, look, this is just the way that it is. This has been a really good thing for me. Everybody else is doing it. We don't live in a creative world. This is just what it is. But would any of those inmates not trade in all of these things they've gotten used to for a chance at being free?
I feel like, look, man, retardation is its own cage, okay?
A chance to feel the sun on their face every single day. That's what all of this is about. Thank you.
So she
What's happening? What's happening in US schools? Excuse me.
finally says her son cannot read. We knew that, but
I'm not doing crack or just sniffing my mints. Which isn't... It's still kind of weird to do, but just so you know.
thanks, I guess, for admitting it. First off, I have a little bone to pick with the statement he's on the Waldorf and Montessori reading schedule.
Yeah, is she going to point out what I found from instantly Googling
Full
it?
disclosure, I did graduate from a Waldorf school.
Yeah.
I was not there for the elementary school years, but I do know that, yes,
Do they give you a lot of walnuts?
their reading teaching schedule is a little bit later than public school. They usually start teaching, I believe, around 7 instead of 5 or 6. But they do have a formal reading education. The students
And apple? Yeah. Celery, apples, walnuts, grapes.
are taught to read. They are not just sitting around waiting for it to happen. Montessori schools, on the other hand, at least according to my research, usually start even earlier than public schools, around 4 or 5. I point this out because the attempt to piggyback off of other education systems incorrectly as a means of legitimizing her decisions once again points to this cognitive dissonance. She knows deep down, probably very deep down, that her son should be reading.
Very
but
deep
she's
down.
refusing to put his needs over her own.
Is our children
Now, what I
reading?
really want to focus on is her use of the word free. No, her son cannot read, but he's free to turn every day into a work of art.
Okay, but he's free from the shackles of being able to read a YouTube comment section.
And all of us who went to school and conform to the demands of society are the inmates. I know someone who would wholeheartedly disagree with this statement, and you may know him too, Oliver James.
A TikTok star is documenting his journey of teaching himself to read and inspiring the entire internet in the process.
On TikTok, Oliver James is a personal trainer, aspiring
You gonna say this man a slave? You gonna say this man a slave for learning? Careful, lady, he's black. Well, what is this?
motivational speaker
I'm here to motivate you.
and an open book.
I started with reading.
especially when it comes.
So he's famous, right? Everyone loves him. He goes on TV. He's on TikTok. Checkmate. He wouldn't have this if he'd been taught to read as a child.
To books.
34-year-old Oliver James went viral on TikTok in 2022 when he confessed to the internet that he could not read, and he started sharing his journey to literacy. At the time, Oliver was functionally illiterate, meaning he had some basic reading and writing skills, but couldn't manage daily tasks that required much reading. He has several videos on his page talking about things that were difficult for him before he could read, so I'm going to play some clips here.
So y'all know I'm teaching myself to read, and I used to get a lot of anxiety going out to eat because I didn't know how to read menus. I would just get...
Teaching himself. Teaching himself. See, it works. Freeform. Freeform.
Familiar foods if I have to.
So we at the grocery store, had to get some vegetable broth.
His excitement to read is screwing him. You got to talk to people. You got to talk to people there and be like, what's really good? What do people normally get? What's number one? What's number one?
Now, one of the cool things about learning to read.
Reading is a plague on his life. Read the menu. Your excitement to be able to read the most complex thing will lead you to pick it and be disappointed. You should have gotten the hamburger.
Is these aisle things up here now, you know?
Now the staff has poor taste. Sometimes there is a reason to ask the staff's recommendation, not to get a grasp of what's good, but to learn what the kitchen is telling them to push. In other words, perhaps what not to order as well. A lot of the time, the recommendation isn't even the staff like picking something, and it's not even the staff trying to get you to make an expensive choice, or sometimes it's because they've been told by the kitchen, we need you to push this now.
Like these things right there, right? Them Jones right there, right? So you look up...
Tim treats the waiter like the monk that always lies. Sometimes. Depends on the restaurant, but... If you're at like a cafe, a real homie, or like a real homie place, and the waiter or waitress is fat as fuck, ask them what to get and get that.
At those, and it'll tell you exactly like where the products are.
If it's like a more professional setting, Swift, when you ask them what to get, you're more likely to be told what the kitchen is saying to push. Because people aren't ordering it or something.
In the aisle.
Or because it's faster to cook. Sometimes they'll ask them to push something that's faster to cook. But that also doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't order it, actually. It might just be, we're swamped with the more intensive options. The more work-intensive options. Push this thing that's fast and easy. Sometimes.
That's something I didn't know. So I'm here at the library right now. I have to go in here to try to get some
Never order seafood on Monday. That's like area-specific, I imagine. But stuff like that is real.
Documents read to me because I don't know how to read them.
I need something read to me. Is it possible I can give you like something to read to me?
Oliver James says he never learned how to read as a child and spent his entire adult life finding ways to hide that. Every situation needed a strategy.
Shut up. You don't like it, Whaler?
From job applications.
I got bad eyes. Can you help me fill this out? Pay him $20 or like...
Fuck you, Whaler. We're going to go even deeper into Food Town. Something that is annoying, as someone with a food channel, Super Yummy Munchie Cat, make sure to subscribe. I just uploaded a video eating economy burgers. Mum's Choice economy burgers from a can. When I want to go out and eat somewhere to film, I want to go there when there are as few people as possible so that I can take shots of the restaurant, right? Which means I go as early as possible. The problem is, at a lot of places, if you're in like right at opening, like the kitchen's like half awake and they're not really on. So that, I think that can like fuck you a lot of the time. Even though that shouldn't be the case, especially if you're going to a more expensive place, I think that absolutely happens a lot.
You find ways.
A fast food menu.
If you went in before me and you're like, can I get a number one with no ketchup? Then I would order that way.
Even dating.
My friends used to text for me. When I remember that. That was hard.
So we have ordering familiar foods or ordering the same thing as someone else because they...
People call my viewers racists, but Baked Bananas in the chat is stating that he does not believe a black man couldn't read. That's like the opposite. What you'd expect.
couldn't read the menu, being unable to find the aisle or the product he needed in a grocery store, having friends text for him, asking librarians to read him documents. Does that sound like freedom to you? No, it doesn't. The definition of freedom is the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint.
This is more like it. That's good.
What is more of a hindrance than lacking the language that will let you act, speak, and think?
But would you have been able to come up with your own definition of freedom? Why did you have to appeal to that dictionary definition?
As you want. But we're the inmates, right?
Yeah, speaking of inmates, I misplaced the exact video where Oliver discusses this, but on his page, he does tell us that he was incarcerated several years ago for, I believe, trafficking firearms, and talks about...
Heartwarming. This weapons trafficker is learning to read The Hungry Little Caterpillar. Fuck me, bro. Heartwarming. Wholesome.
How part of the reason he was arrested is because he couldn't read and didn't know what he did was a crime.
No. I didn't know weapons trafficking was against the law because I couldn't read the bill that forbade it. Fuck off. No. You believe that?
Even while being processed in jail, he couldn't understand his paperwork and didn't even know why he was there in the first place.
No.
For that reason, I think it's just so nasty to call people who are taught to read inmates when they're...
God, we're really lucky he did weapon trafficking. Imagine if... Man, he never read that you shouldn't rape.
It's a strong...
You shouldn't kick children. He never read that. How could he have known not to?
Connection between illiteracy and incarceration. Some studies show that 70% of incarcerated people can't read above a 4th grade level, and literate inmates had a 16% chance of returning to prison, whereas the illiterate inmates had 70% chance, and that is huge, clearly. Yeah, so I bet your kid's gonna really appreciate these days.
Hey, Thought Couture. Did he try to hide what he was doing at all? I wonder.
Freedom when he's behind bars. Like, actually...
He was arrested when he tried to sell the police a Glock with a filed off serial number. He couldn't read the car!
About that for a second.
Just as important as the literal effects of illiteracy are the emotional effects. Here are some clips from Oliver's most viewed TikTok.
I'm sorry. I'm learning how to read, y'all. It's either this or I turn off the camera and just be angry and don't learn. Because regardless, this is why people give up. When you see an adult and they be like, why you never learn? Like, because this is what they would have to go through. I don't know if they'll go through it like me, but I'm going to tell you something. If you don't know how to read and you're an adult and you're going to start learning how to read, you will not get through this without any vulnerability, bro. Like, you don't... I'm supposed to know this!
This is fucking obscene.
I'm supposed to know this shit already! Let's go! You learning, you learning how to read.
This is fucking deranged.
You learning. That's what it is. Let's go. Let's go. I'm supposed to know this stuff, yo. I'm supposed to already know how to read. I'm supposed to get this. Let's go.
So I am...
He goes on vacation to a non-English speaking country, sits down, realizes he can't read the menus there, and like has like a fucking rage outfit and like starts throwing plates. There are other languages!
Woman enough to...
I thought I was past this!
Admit that I cried watching this for the first time. and second time. What's so affecting about Oliver's videos is just how open he is about the profound shame illiteracy has caused him. But so is the joy of finishing a new book or finally understanding a grocery aisle sign. Like, I simply cannot fathom
Finally understanding a grocery aisle sign.
how any parent could come across his page.
Understand? Bro, that shit says like rice. That shit says like rice. Toilet paper.
See his struggle and think, yeah, I'll risk it. I will do nothing to prevent that from happening to my own child. For any hardcore unschoolers still watching this, do you really believe that Oliver was simply not ready to read until he was 34? Isn't it obvious
No.
that reading
Isn't
ability
it?
did not
Isn't it obvious? I think something's obvious.
just naturally manifest in him, and that he's clearly working hard to learn? Oliver was failed by the system. Because, don't get me wrong, the school system can and does fail students. It is not perfect.
They never taught him not to traffic weapons.
But what makes you think that you and your child are immune to this? Oliver's teachers refused to teach him reading. You are your child's teacher. If you do not teach them to read, this is their future. If you can't tell, I really care about reading. Finally, I need to put out there that I have never been as genuinely proud of a total stranger as I am Oliver James. Teaching yourself to read as an adult is an
Can you not like pick an example of someone who taught himself to read as an adult, like who isn't a weapons trafficker or like an ex-con?
incredible feat, and I applaud him for speaking publicly about an issue that is so highly stigmatized.
People are always like, yeah, this guy did this fucked thing, but he's past it, so let's all celebrate them. What about like the dude who's doing that and didn't do the other stuff? Why not them? I prefer them. I prefer my war heroes to have not been captured.
I hope he's out there having a great day and reading everything his heart desires. I tried to come to this issue of unschooling with an open mind. Truth be told, I do have a little bit of sympathy for parents who are considering unschooling. I know from personal experience that the public school system is not the best fit for every child. As alluded to earlier, I switched from public to private school in high school because my social anxiety disorder was so severe that I refused to go back to public school. And doing so saved my education.
He's doing the long con. He's learned to read so he can understand how to use a 3D printer, and this time he won't get caught.
I also think we do need to address the elephant in the classroom of gun violence in America. I'm filming this just 10 days after the school shooting in Georgia, which was the deadliest of 2024. So far...
Damn, where'd they get the weapons? Does this tie in?
And there are no words to express the horror and the grief this crisis is causing that our administration refuses to do anything about. As a child...
Well, the problem is the combo with, like, trying to do that, but also trying to be like, he's passed it, whatever, okay, now he's doing the good thing, he's learning to read, he was failed by the education system. In fact, the only reason that shit went down is because he couldn't read that trafficking weapons was illegal. Fuck off. Fuck you. No.
Free person,
That bit pissed me off too much. Find someone else.
I cannot imagine the terror of sending your children to school every day, not knowing if they're going to make it back. That is something absolutely no one should ever experience, and I do understand completely the impulse to remove your children from that environment. For these reasons, I don't think
You philosophically disagree. Are you sure? Really? You don't agree that a better example will be someone doing the same minus the weapons trafficking. Better. Better. Even if it's a bit. Is that like a bit better? Come on, man.
Schooling in general is the worst thing. I do think it is possible for parents to know their children really well and to be highly engaged and structured in their education and making sure they progress as they should. What worries me is that if you're a parent whose child is struggling for whatever reason, or if you're justifiably terrified for your child's safety, and you come across someone like Kelsey Ray or Mami Onami, and
Mommy Onami.
unschooling seems like this saving grace, like the answer, and you just might not realize that it comes with its own extreme risks and consequences. One of the glaring issues with the philosophy of unschooling is that you don't know what you don't know. How does a
Philosophy of unschooling should be a passive in eugenics.
child know what they're interested in if they're not exposed to all the possibilities?
Yeah,
You know,
there
say
we go.
Maybe your kid
There's
has
like the easiest, most immediate. I feel like that's like the biggest fucking thing that I've said 100 times watching this, and it comes in at the end.
the potential to be the next Emily Dickinson or Whitman. But if you don't have poetry books around,
I don't trust the Dickinson family. Back in the day, your last name was what you did. We've got the Bakers, they bake. We got the Smiths, they smith. What in the fuck were the Dick-in sons doing?
how will they know they love poetry? Plus, most knowledge is cumulative. Say your child is super interested in American history. That's all well and good.
It's a good gag, isn't it?
But to really understand the founding of the US, for example, they're going to need to learn pretty much all of history prior to that point.
Yes.
But none of that can happen without literacy.
Dog, like that was my thought 1 minute 22 into your video. I feel if your conclusion is I've wasted
There is a
wasted
reason
my time.
reading is taught first and foremost in schools. It underlines everything a person could need or want to know or do in this world. One of Oliver's TikToks that's been stuck in my mind is where he opens up about how reading has taught him just how much goes on in the world that he never knew before. And unfortunately, lots of it is awful. Reading the diary of Anne Frank.
Oliver has learned that actually the Vikings were all black.
Frank for the first time, and then
Oliver learned that black people were the real original Hebrews.
discovering the Holocaust. But he also understands that ignorance is not really bliss. Ignorance of the world's complexities comes at the cost of being able to operate in it.
Ultimately, the Holocaust is a real comforting. It's a.
That the unschooling parents of TikTok
I get what she's saying, but look.
take literacy for granted, even though they themselves were taught to read. Literacy does not just naturally dawn on a person. So structure and education now means freedom later. And why wouldn't you choose that for your child? Well, goodness gracious, that is it for me today. Do let me know in the comments, have you heard of unschooling? Do you know anyone who's either...
More inspiring than some random guy doing it. Part of the issue there, though, is that he's doing a performance of that story, and I understand what you're saying, but I feel it being a TikToker taints it heavily. Heavily taints it. And surely someone who hasn't done, let's say, weapons trafficking would there'd still be his own trials and tribulations, right? Someone who can't read is going to have their own story of getting woven back into society. And I don't think the layer of like criminal rehabilitation enhances that layer. I think that's separate.
practice unschooling or been through it. Were you yourself unschooled? I would love to hear about your thoughts and experiences. Reminder, you can also follow me on Instagram, Threads, and Goodreads for fun, bookish extras.
Where they'll be saying it's got some extra sauce.
And even more full-length reviews. If you enjoyed this video, I think you'll also enjoy this one. As always, thank you.
Did you verify that Beck's Twitter and nudes were easily findable? No.
you so very much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.
She didn't you learn empathy at 30. I was thinking about it, and then I was like, she didn't specify when the nudes were from. And if I remember correctly, she was early 20s at that time, and they'd been leaked in the past. So I was like, let's not go looking for that. However, that bitch is fucking crazy. If you have a copy of the server, that Bex woman is fucking nuts. And she sent a lot of pictures in there. She sent pictures directly to Red. Not pornographic images that I've seen, but she was sending this 14-year-old like selfies, like, look at me, you can see the crazy in my eyes, and being like, please Red, get into voice call with me. Thank you so much for talking with me on voice chat, Red. I was really losing it. You really helped me. Fucking woman in her 20s talking to a 14-year-old. Fucking sick shit. Sick shit. What book am I reading right now? I'm reading this and testing myself on it over and over. Over and over. I don't have room for any reading for leisure. I gotta one shot past this. Life in the UK Handbook. Why? So I can get UK citizenship and then renounce it when the when the exclusive citizenship bill comes into effect. Yeah, great. Great, right? Show again. 2025 edition Life in the UK Handbook. Yeah. Just convert to Islam. You don't have to take that test. There are questions on Islam in there. And some other religions. Okay. UK church questions, of course. When's Ramadan is something I need to know for this, I think. You need to know what Eid is and stuff like that. The Nux stuff is funny because it wasn't an 18 plus server. And his argument that it was an 18 plus server was that Patreon is inherently 18 plus, which isn't true. You can manually set your Patreon to have an age gate on it, and he didn't. He apparently doesn't understand the terms and conditions of websites which require you to have parental consent, and for them to agree to be bound by the terms on your behalf if you're under 18. But every website that allows 13-year-olds has those terms and conditions. However, he repeatedly asserts that it was an 18-plus server. So, okay, let's be good faith and just believe him. Okay, it was an 18-plus server. Why the fuck were all your mods talking to kids in there then? What the fuck? So, if he wants to defend his mod, or if his mod wants to defend himself, the only defense is that Nux is a liar. If he holds on to he's not lying, it's 18 plus, then your mods are fucking creeps. It's funny. The Nuxlamic dilemma. The Nuxlamic dilemma. Nux said multiple times that it was 16 plus. The public server is 16 plus. Different server. He says in his defense that the Patreon server is an 18 plus server repeatedly, and he argues that it's inherently 18 plus. Wait, that was his mod? The first guy I show is a current mod of his. The second one I show, the lady, was a mod until she left in 2020? I don't remember, it's in the video. Albie would have been worse, if that's who I'm thinking about. I don't think it was a mod that was talking to the mod. Oh no, Jonathan! You're thinking of Alan Wiebes. Alan Wiebes wasn't a mod. There are 2 other mods, though, who talk to kids in there. Which, if it was an 18+ server... So Nux's defense is like, it's an 18+ server. How the fuck were there kids in there? I didn't know there were kids. I didn't see this. Your mods did, and talked to them. You've painted your mods as fucking creep freaks. If a server's 18+, it's a problem that kids are there at all, regardless of what you're doing with them. Bro. Yeah, I get you. I figured out that you meant Alan Wiebes. Yeah? Yeah. Not an argument, you're being grossly negligent. Yeah, but I like this angle. I think that angle's very well covered by Nick Andros. Now we're getting in the weeds. What dating an OF girl is like. A tech tussy video. We'll probably do this tomorrow because this is 53 minutes long. And I'm a short streamer. I've got this on my list of things to watch. Don't you worry. It's in my notepad. I don't know that much about the what is it? It's not a restraining order. It's the protective order, which I guess is similar. So let's learn about that from Think Before You Sleep tomorrow. Assuming that's what it's covering. Let's take a quick peep at Nicki's Nosh. Let's see if there's anything good in this video real quick. At least the intro will be sick. Look, I've got other stuff as well we could do. Yeah, AI Kino, exactly. I've also got... This indie demo made 17.5 million before shutting down. I think an alternative title was like the $17.5 million indie title you never heard of. And that is damn straight correct. I ain't never heard of this. AI thumbnail, so Kino. Wait for it. Have you seen? Has anyone here? Twitter was having problems for me earlier. Has anyone here not seen Nicki's Nosh intros? Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself.
Oh, hello. Well, welcome back to Nicki's Nosh.
Back off.
And today,
get back.
I'm at Rongiorno Bistro in Aikenwood.
Get
Road,
back.
Right outside in a suburb of York. And I've been wanting to come here for quite some time.
Nicki's looking very Dawkinsoid today.
Italian restaurant. It's a Sicilian restaurant. It's open just in the evenings.
Oh God.
And you have
melting
to book because it is always busy. I've got an empty stomach again. So come on.
Too much information. Too much information.
Come on, step inside where the sunlight's softly glowing. A little out of town gem where Sardinian
all the boomer food channels have leaned really heavily into AI because they... You know how like you start your life in diapers and you end your life in diapers? You spend your teens on MySpace and you spend the last quarter of your life like a MySpace person, where you think the best shit ever is just spackling flair everywhere. So there's like the more shit you put on a page, the better. And all these old foodie channels are going fucking hard on just spamming AI everywhere.
Daniela greets you brightly. Franco cooks with pride.
Shredding my eyes.
The table, summer by your side.
Well, welcome back to Nicki's Nosh. And of course, I'm Nicki. I'm in what looks like a beautiful Sardinian trattoria, but I'm actually in this place, Buongiorno Bistro. Now they're in Aikenwood Road. They are.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be an AI man.
But they are getting fantastic reviews, and I can understand why. Now the time now.
You haven't eaten there yet.
Just after 7:15, and it's packed. So we're going to, and it's also very warm.
They put us in the punishment seat.
And I'm absolutely sweating buckets.
I can see.
I haven't got Lenny because I've sent him back to his mother's
melting
house
into
for a
Richard
few
Dawkins,
days, so I can get on with doing some reviews. So this is Buongiorno, right? Which is very, very Italian, isn't it? And I've gone to
one of the most
menu
Italian
specials.
words.
Now the menu specials is really quite beautiful. See if we can perhaps get that there. Put my head there, right? So you can see the starter I'm going for is the crostino freddo caldo.
She's being too contained. We need to jump forward.
Cheese. Right, now look at that.
Okay.
Crostino freddo, crostino caldo, toasted bread so fine, gentle fire, burrata soft as
This is the burrata cheese.
streams melting on the plate.
I can never match this. This is the sickest shit ever.
First taste of hidden wonders that quietly await.
Oh, buongiorno, bistro hidden in Woodthorpe is late.
What's up, Hex?
So full of stories, you'll be coming back again. Burrata rich and tender, ragu slow and deep. 3 sweet
Big old creamy tumor.
dreams for memories to keep.
The middle of that burrata isn't as liquidy as I'd expect.
Beautiful. I've never had this sort of cheese.
You've never had a burrata?
But it's...
Everyone I've had has been fucking ass. Every burrata I've had has been like in something. Sickos be putting burratas in burgers. I've never had like a nice fresh burrata. Whenever I've had it, it's just like having a big lump of mozzarella that's a bit old.
It's a soft cheese, obviously. My jingo, that's got a lovely bite to it as that sauce. Beautiful cheese. And of course, rocket.
Tim needs a theme song. I have one. Can I find it doing this? Can you search Sora songs? I don't know how to get my hands on the Terraria Time with the Nicotine Gum song. That's the problem. I don't know if Jason, now known as Basin, is here. You have it? Drop it, OMG Trey. Smoke him if you got him. Does the man show up again later?
Pizzas as well. There you go. You can have a little look.
Yeah. Mozzarella that ain't fully set. Yeah, so it's like liquidy inside. Liquidy inside. Thank you. Okay. Is this the one? This is one version. I have to tell you though, that's not the original, and I think Whaler has sent the original. Wait. Hold up. What is this? You fucking made this, Whaler? This isn't the original. This certainly isn't the fucking original either.
this is all about Charlie Cook's neck getting shot. You know, like funny and absurd without referencing the game otherwise. Here's the version. Charlie Cook's running bullets in the air.
This isn't the original.
His neck somewhere. Dodging left, dodging right, he can't get away. Neck's taking damage every single day. Terraria time with the Charlie Kirk gun.
This is a remix of the Terraria Time with the Nicotine Gum song. How did you do this? Tofu 69. None of these are the fucking original. Terraria Time with the Nicotine Gum. Terraria Time. Yeah, we're having lots of fun. That's the original. Yeah, this'll be it. This'll be it. Finally nicotine free. Have been for a while. I fell off a couple times and went back to the gum a couple times, but that was years ago. This is my theme song. Now called Basin! Good as fuck. AI will replace us all.
Look at that.
Pasta fare, beef and lamb and pork ragu, pecorino everywhere.
And as the daylight starts to wane, sweet Sardinian echoes.
Can't watch too much of this because it ages you. It makes you age really fast. You get old. Alright. Yapsum. Small tuber. This indie demo made $17.5 million before shutting down. I ain't never heard of it. And that's what the title was. Indie game you never heard of? Correct. Starlight Revolver, I presume.
Have you ever heard of the indie games Starlight Revolver?
Nope.
If you don't recognize that name, that's fine. There are a lot of indie games out there. But what if I told you this indie game had a budget of $17.5 million?
Eye damage.
With none of that money coming from Kickstarter. This indie game had over 100,000 wishlists, broke into the top 10 most played demos of Steam Next Fest 2025.
Do you remember that Risk of Rain 2 ripoff we played for a while? Something Picnic? Atomic Picnic, maybe? Did that ever come out? It did come out. 7th November 2024. Been out for over a year. Yeah. I remember this. I played a little bit of this with you guys.
And had big
3D Risk of Rain is meh for you. I vastly prefer Risk of Rain 2 to the original Risk of Rain. I barely played the original Risk of Rain. I played like almost 100 of Risk of Rain 2. Which, insofar as fans of it play thousands of hours, I didn't play much, but for me that's a lot.
Streamers like CDawgVA and Iron Mouse both lined up to play at Anime NYC. Their team had employees from Riot Games, Capcom, Ubisoft, and their music had people working on it as big as Caro Caro Bonito, Iris, and Lily Pichu. All of
best thing Caro Caro Bonito have done is the Bugsnax theme.
this put towards an early access release player peak of only 499 players, a peak they would never come close to beating for the rest of the lifetime of the game. And even worse, this wasn't a single player game releasing.
I don't think I'm ever going to play an FPS again, JG. I ain't playing Marathon. I don't think FPSs are on the table for me. I'm too old. My eyes.
To lower player accounts. This was a game intended to be MMO-like with live service. The reception was so bad that they had to announce the shutdown of the game only 3 months later, and leading up to that, they were dealing with suspicions of implementing crypto, AI, and pulling strings to get their funding in the first place. So how do you start with $17.5 million, a killer team, tons of big collaborations, but shut down in 3 months? Let's find out. First, I want to get ahead of the people thinking that I'm the one defining them as an indie studio. They actually say this about themselves in their Gamescom exhibition description. They say they are a New York-based indie
Do you think
team
it
of game
counts, though?
developers. And since they mentioned Starlight Revolver, this was their description after they started developing that game, which will mean more in a little bit.
To play Hyper Demon. Maybe I'd play Devil Daggers. I ain't touching Hyper Demon ever again.
Before the game was released, the CEO, Daniel Zhou, made a Reddit post in game dev about what he learned.
How old am I? I'm 34. But I have like eye problems. I don't have like any particular diagnosable condition. I've just over the years gotten more sensitive to like 3D movement and stuff, like motion sickness, headache stuff.
After first revealing his game to the world. This was a post broadly talking about the funding, how they took
Get really bad eye strain really easily.
Feedback, and how they pivoted ideas. But what the commenters immediately caught on to...
You got old eyes? I mean, that's what the optometrist said. They were like, your eyes have... You have like eyes I'd expect like a 40 or 50-year-old to have, or something like that. They were saying like my eyes are... They did say I had old eyes.
I went off savings for the first year, then raised
Could be
$2
bullshit
million
though, I don't
in year
know.
2 and $15 million in year 3 from venture capital. Daniel's post was very quickly overshadowed by the fact that they raised $2 million just a year after starting game development. Not only just starting game development, but from the title, Daniel says he started learning game development 3 years ago. This pace is absolutely unprecedented in the indie game scene,
Is
where
it
people
vibe-coded?
often develop games from a capital investment of $0, all the money coming out of their own savings until the game releases. Starlight Revolver somehow got $2 million only a year after the CEO started learning about game development, and $15 million more a year after that. From his comments, this screenshot is from the build that he used to get that first round of funding.
Damn, son. This is like the shit I would have found when I was 15, going on like best... Show me top 10 MMOs to play. Worm Online. Fly for Fun. Fucking Ragnarok Online.
It's a very...
This doesn't look like Eternal Sonata. Eternal Sonata's a cool game. Eternal Sonata's cool, man. It's like playing Tales of Symphonia, but it's Chopin.
Simple looking demo. Nothing that would make someone think that it should get $2 million. So people dug deeper, and they found that this wasn't the story of just Starlight Revolver, but also another game called
Nah, Worm. W-U-R-M. Like a dragon.
Halcyon Zero. The developer mentions that Halcyon Zero was the first version of Starlight Revolver after they were called out about their incredible level of funding. And if you go looking, you can see the types of people who invested into it. The primary investor is Jonathan Lai, a partner of Andreessen Horowitz, a venture capital firm that invests into many things, including AI and crypto. People even found the post from Andreessen Horowitz specifically about Halcyon Zero. In this post, you can find why they cared about Pato Labs, the company that Daniel Zhou founded.
Pedo Labs, a bold new direction for gaming.
Andreessen Horowitz is leading the Series A in Pato Labs, a game studio building a next-generation anime RPG, Halcyon Zero, alongside a UGC
Bro, call this company Pedo Labs.
for players to create their own anime-style mods and worlds. We're very excited about the potential for AI-assisted UGC to transform IP into dynamic, never-ending game franchises. This was how Halcyon Zero, Pato Labs, and Daniel Zhou got their funding. While this post was talking about the larger chunk of $15 million that the company raised, it's not too far of a stretch to imagine that this was the pitch that also got the initial $2 million. And that's because to get $2 million, you would have had to have sold investors on the idea that they would eventually get their money back and more. An MMO, especially from an indie company with only 1 year of game development experience at the time,
Is
would have
insane.
no other chance of getting that funding. MMOs are notoriously risky, even for big companies, as shown by a titan like Amazon shutting down theirs. To get $2 million, Daniel Zhou was...
Where do I work out? My workout is putting fucking tires onto a scooter. Look at this shit. Fucking sucks, man. Ow. Typing hurts. Grabbing things hurts. Owie.
not just
I got a
staunchly
boo-boo.
defending a few strong ideas or pivoting during game development, like he implies in the post. He was selling the idea that his company would create anime Roblox, a
Oh, Christ. Is that not just one of the most horrifying combos? I saw that frame for a second. I saw that frame flicker.
Anime Roblox, a platform to create AI-assisted user-generated content. Now, if you compare the $17.5 million they
Roblox, but you can generate your little game worlds with AI? That's horrifying.
raised to the net worth of Roblox, you can
Not for any AI reason, but like... Bro, grooming zones tailored to the individual child.
see why companies were willing to put in what seems like a pittance for the chance that this becomes even a fraction as big. People also found that to get these connections in the first place, Daniel Zhou had a job history at Jump Trading LLC, building their cryptocurrency trading product, Robinhood, specifically working on crypto among other things, and as an angel investor into many different ventures, including Neo, who in turn invested back into Pato Labs. All of this went directly against the idea of the post, which seemed to position them.
Pato Labs are developing AI Roblox. It's too good. It's too good. New World was okay, but like
as a small indie company that
could imagine it being very easy to get sick of. Did it really shut down fully? I was in the beta testing, early beta testing for New World, and it was very different. Originally, it wasn't like set cities. The cities were player built. January 31st, 2027 will be shut down. We had a little bit of fun in New World. Do you remember when I tried to rally you guys together and there were like 4 of us and we were going to defend the town, and then some bigger streamer showed up to raid it and it was like 6 of us versus literally fucking hundreds and we couldn't do shit? That was fun, right? That was a good time.
Pull themselves up by the bootstraps, when in reality, Daniel Zhou had many connections to venture capital that other developers wouldn't have. Later in 2025, Daniel Zhou would post again in game dev with the same style of post, this time calling themselves the solo dev that raised $2 million. They talk about how they spent weeks of competitive research and iteration on their animatic and advertising on TikTok by stepping out of their comfort zone. And at the bottom, there's a vague paragraph recommending devs not get discouraged by the negativity around the funding side, and how, if you build a truly impressive prototype relative to your resources, I believe there are investors and publishers out there that will be interested in your project. I would like to remind you that this screenshot was their prototype they said they had around the time we had raised the $2 million, and that their largest investor, Andreessen Horowitz, explicitly calls out.
It's an impressive prototype, like relative to, I don't know, a penny, a rubber band, and a piece of string, right? If those are your resources.
AI-assisted anime UGC as a reason they invested in Pato Labs, something completely absent in their entire post that was supposedly more about our story. The reaction in the comments correctly pointed out the reality.
It's going to be tough to push, because if you hide any of that sort of tech, people will be like, oh, you're doing some evil secret bullshit and you're going to cyberfuck us. But if you put it up front, and even if it's cool, your fan base is immediately going to be a bunch of crypto bros, and no one's going to want to interact with the community surrounding it, because it's a bunch of fucking weird people.
And that was that Daniel Zhou was lying by omission about how they got the investor attention and what they promised to those investors. It wasn't just a game, they were promising anime Roblox. And all this might bring you to ask, why does this matter? Because while true, Daniel lied about how the company grew, but the game really did get 100,000 wish lists, and also got all those employees from other big companies. I gave you all that context because both of...
You're thinking of Blanco's newest whaler. And look, that was swarming with cryptoids, wasn't it? Am I wrong? Very off-putting. Also, the game itself was pretty off-putting, but whatever.
These posts were meant to advertise the game, as shown by the links to the game.
I liked the idea in Blanco's of being able to morph the little men together and, you know, all that. That's cool. Your character, you morph them together, get the rare collectibles, do all that stuff. That's nifty!
Game, both of them. And instead of doing that successfully, it made people uncover a lot of stuff that would drag down the game's reputation forever. Connections to AI and crypto through the CEO would fuel rumors of the company's plans for the game. In fact, it was so persistent that the CEO had to make their own post on the Steam community, rebutting each and every one of those points. This was in response not only to the Reddit threads where people...
So that's a straight lie. That isn't just an omission this time. That's a straight fat lie. Not an AI project.
But also this enormous Steam discussion compiling all of this information for people to read. This discussion got 99 awards and generated 139 comments or responses before the moderators locked the thread from any further participation. If you googled Starlight Revolver Steam in the month after that thread was created in June 2025, your first result is that thread absolutely trashing the game. If you googled it in the days until just before the game was released in August 27th, just below the game itself, you would get that thread. For almost 2 months after the discussion was first created, people were going onto Google and immediately finding a thread that had only negative things to reveal about the game. Even though the CEO would later rebut the idea that the game has crypto or AI or anything like that, it took
maybe it doesn't right now.
2 months before that response would be made, and this was 2 days after the game had already been released. On top of that, the post was to a much smaller audience, as evidenced
Starlight Revolver. $8.99. 10% of the 10 user reviews in the last 30 days are positive. Steam Next Fest most played demo. It just looks like cyber vomit. Looks like someone swallowed cyber paint and vomited it onto the screen. Agony. The game will still be able to still be available to play. We do not plan on offering Japanese, Chinese, etc. localization. We will continue to fix major bugs.
by the number of awards and comments, only 35 and 17 respectively. And also, as a lesser point, the 99 awards the original discussion got were
yeah, especially the player icon, like the icon top left does look very Muse Dashy.
primarily
The
made
palette,
up of
my memory of Muse Dash would say the palette's
positive
similar, yeah.
awards, not the clown award that was generally used to make fun of threads. This points towards that thread having a positive reception and people seeing it as truthful, accurate, or helpful. The reputation that Starlight Revolver had accumulated around itself is what I believe to be the reason it launched to only 499 players despite its wishlist count and being a top
the
10
drop-off.
most played demo in Steam Next Fest 2025.
Yep.
If you look
Fact check true, I saw that.
through every single game that has been released and placed near Starlight Revolver in Steam Next Fest, you can easily find that every single one of them beats out Starlight Revolver across many other genres.
You lost against dang old Starbirds. Let's check out Starbirds. 15 quid. Relaxing asteroid-based building and resource management game. Okay. Kind of reminds me of a game I played as a kid, but that was online and was very competitive. Where you started with a little rock and you had to set up turrets and stuff and other people could fly over and attack you, whatever.
Genres that do not demand as strong of a player base as an MMO. There is no other reasonable explanation that I can conjure that would explain an at best 0.5% conversion rate of wishlists to peak player count in an MMO. Even though the game had a bad launch gameplay wise as well, which I will discuss soon, 100,000 wishlists and a top 10 most played demo in that month should have led more players to playing on launch purely on.
You'd think at least a bit more than just shy of 500 people. You'd think enough people would just be like, oh, it's out, I'll try it. Enough people don't think about things, don't check into things, don't know about stuff. You'd think there'd be more than 500 impulse buys just from being notified that a game on their wishlist is available. Like, come on. Embarrassing. I don't know. Can I say? It points to wishlist fakery. Points to wishlist fakery in my eyes.
Hype alone. But I believe that this reputation of being possibly a crypto game, or a game made with AI assets, all from the rumors based on the past history of the CEO, was what turned people off before the game even launched. How
Turn them off enough to go from turn them off enough to harvest 500 purchases or 500 peak players out of 100k wish lists? I don't know, man.
However, I do not want to give the impression that the reputation alone was what sank the game. For
Okay.
499 players
Okay.
who did get into the game on launch, the scene was not pretty. If you know what this music is, you know what is coming. If you don't, just enjoy the ride. Connection errors. Unable to dash across a gap. All the roguelike currency going away. Can't join queue. Negative roguelike currency. Out of bounds. Out of bounds. Out of bounds. Becoming the void. Connection lost. By the way, there was
Oh man, Becoming the Void sounds tight.
no bug reporting channel in the Discord on launch, and the bug reporting in-game was bugged. Connection dropped and turned into nothing. Stuck at character select.
Developer who thinks his game is perfect because the bug report was bugged.
No way to change keybinds. Unbeatable tutorial. Stuck on the title screen. And just for good luck, one more...
To be fair, the unbeatable tutorial comment could have just been Dean Takahashi taking a shot.
Connection failure for an MMO with
Faceless Void, he's a cool guy, he's got a mace.
499 players on their server. Yeah, this is how they ended up using their $17.5 million budget.
I love this. Speed Maniac EX says, imagine people look at you and you're just a dark shadow in the corner. He says with a Sonic avatar. Cucked Sonic comment. God, I wish I was Shadow.
You can see in their October
Fuck.
Steam post, they were already planning to turn the game into a single-player experience, alongside rebranding the game as Starlight
so
Revolver
cool.
Ignite. But in November, they announced the imminent shutdown of the game, with the single-player experience ending up as their plan for the shutdown. And that's how the game is today, an MMO turned into a solo offline experience. I don't know if there's any grand lesson to be learned here.
My favorite example of a game going from online to a single-player experience is the game that was literally called Pagan Online. The game literally called Online had to cancel its online functionality, man. Grim times.
Maybe don't lie about how your game got started, then go silent for 2 months while negative theories fester in your community. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. This game really did look beautiful. I'm sure the creatives put in their all to make the game look as good as it does, but in the end, it was all dragged down by a CEO trying to
They changed his name to Pagan Absent Gods.
drum up more attention for the game, instead of spending the money to make it a more fun experience. At least it wasn't money from the fans through Kickstarter this time. That's a relief.
Let's check the homepage. What is what I'm looking at today? Resulted in us being some sort of goblinoid.
First time experiencing a British man. You say good morning.
Good morning.
You say good evening, governor.
Good evening, Governor.
Jesus Christ. I can't stand the screeching. Fart coin. What do we have here? Number go up games are taking over. Always have been. Always have been. The bubble is bursting, says logically answered. Logically answered! Fuck me. I know I have a gay, silly name, but logically answered. Come on. Hex wants me to watch this one. That guy's becoming Adrian Wu, slowly. I'm tempted, because Hex spoiled. Hex, I believe, was saying that this guy pushed the scam? Like he promoted it? Is that correct? Does anyone know? Cognitive Thought is an amazing one as well. Amazing one. What else do we have here? Is there anything, or do I disappear now? Is there anything here, or do I disappear now? Pizza Mom. Nah, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. I might go away. We'll probably look at that Tech Turn video tomorrow. Let's learn about dating an OnlyFans girl. I remember this. God, that was a year ago already? I'm gonna peace out. I don't have much stuff, Whaler. I have a. If I watch it now, I won't have anything to fuck around with you tomorrow with, okay? I am but a humble slop farmer with a limited stock of slop. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me today. Play more incest. No! Thank you for joining me tonight. Thanks for your viewership, companionship, incredible generosity. Till tomorrow, good night, sleep tight, don't let illiteracy bite.